Meanwhile, little Sarada had grown up into a young woman. She was now 18, fully mature in body and in mind. Sweet memories of her husband were no doubt lingering in her mind. When she was 13, she had spent a month and a half with him at Kamarpukur. A few months later, when she was 14, she could again live for about 7 months in his company during his visit to his village home in 1867. She had found him very tender and kind at that time. He was no doubt about the ordinary run of man in his love of God and purity of mind, but in other respects, she had found him perfectly normal and human. She had noticed an utter selflessness in the care and cordiality he had bestowed on her then, and her mind had been much impressed by the instructions he had given her about God and devotional life, and about the way of discharging one's duties and responsibilities in the world. To the Hindu wife who is taught to look upon her husband as a veritable God, as her sole refuge here and hereafter, there is nothing more gratifying than the consciousness of having secured his respect and attention. To the Holy Mother, therefore, this occasion of her first real contact with her husband was an unforgettable experience. Recalling the inner feelings she experienced in those days, she used to tell her women disciples, "I then felt as if a picture of bliss was kept in my heart. It was a constant experience with me then. It is very difficult to convey an idea of this experience to others." Narrating the lighter incidents of her life during her stay at Kamarpukur on this occasion, the Holy Mother would say, "When I was still quite young, the master once came to Kamarpukur with stomach trouble. During the early hours of the morning, he would wake up from sleep and tell us about the dishes I should prepare for his midday meal. I would follow his directions. One day I found that I had not a particular spice with which he wanted the vegetable flavored. My sister-in-law, Sri Ramakrishna's elder brother's wife, asked me to cook without that spice. The master heard those words and said, 'How is it? If you have not the spice, get it from the market. It is not proper to cook the curry without the spices necessary for it.' I sacrificed the rich dishes of Dakshineshwar temple and came here for the flavor of that spice. And you want to deprive me of that? That won't do." My sister-in-law felt ashamed and sent for the spice. The Brahmani, Yogeshwari, the Sannyasini who instructed Sri Ramakrishna in tantric practices, was then with us. The master addressed her as mother, and I therefore looked upon her as my mother-in-law. I was rather afraid of her. She was very fond of red pepper. She used to cook her own dishes, all hot stuff. Often she offered me these preparations. I would silently eat them and wipe out the tears from my eyes. When she asked me how I liked them, I said in fear, "Very nice." My sister-in-law, however, would remark, "Oh, they are very hot." I noticed that the Brahmani would displeased at such remarks. She would say, "Why do you say so? My daughter approves of these dishes. Nothing can please you. I will not give you my curries anymore." And the Holy Mother would laugh as she narrated these incidents. It was during this period that the Brahmani picked up a quarrel with Hriday and left the master's company.